Hey fiber friends, today I want to show you how I made the path shawl. And I call it the path because to me in this pattern the granny stitches look like little pebbles, and the rows with a few of the raised front post double crochets kind of look like a path. So a path that's leading like a garden path is so cute. So I promised that I would share with you guys how I made the path shawl. And this particular yarn I used Drops Charisma. It is a more itchier type of yarn, but I am wearing this as an outer garment, so it will go on the outside of a jacket or a wool coat. In comparison, I do have Lion brand merino wool, which is also a DK. It is known to be a very splitty yarn, but I want to use it today with some new tools that I got from Yarn as a Second Language to show you guys today how I made the path shawl. Now, in the video that I shared with you guys previously, I did use like a KNC, a Joanne, it was a merino, was it 100% merino wool to work up what I later stitched together in the top corners, a kerchief that I plan on wearing in the pre-fall season. So this has not been blocked, unlike the shawl, and there is a very big difference I know that you can see here. And the effects of the path, it's so pretty how the path lays after it has been fully immersed in water, wet blocked. No stretching was needed, but wet blocked and dried. And this is the result of the wet block after drying, and this is the look. It looked exactly the same. This is the pre-blocking look of the fabric. So they're both beautiful, but I really like the layout of the path afterwards, after blocking. So those are the two examples I have for you. I will be using, as I said, this Lion brand merino yarn to get started with my Yarn as a Second Language hooks, and I'm not quite sure which one to use with this one. So this is a little bit slower tutorial because I barely had time to really sit down and share with you guys. Oh, I think I pulled out the right size first. But I have the Sonnet, lovely color. I love the length of the hook, and it's a 3.5. I tend to work with finer yarns to create more of a finer crochet fabric and flatter fabric. So I believe this is my hook. Let's get started. So to start this project, we will make a magic circle. For the magic circle, I placed the yarn over 2 fingers. There are several other YouTube videos you can watch for this, but I placed the yarn over my 2 fingers and I cross it to make an X. I pick up the right side and move it over the left, and then I pull the left up and let go. And that is how I get my circle. Then I work into the space. I usually make it a little tighter, smaller, but I work into this first little loop by, oh, I think it's the perfect size, y'all. Sorry, I got a little excited. But I pull the yarn through for my slip stitch to start the row. I don't count this stitch. We will be using double crochets and double crochets in the front post, slip stitches, and chain stitches in this tutorial. So to start, I'm going to make a granny stitch, which is 3 double crochets. So the 1, 1, so far no splitting. Oh, spoke too soon. 1, 2, 3, and that is my first granny stitch. And I just pull it so you can see. I just pull it a bit to tighten it, and that's why I don't start with the long tail, because it's going to make plenty of tail on its own. So this is my first granny stitch, and we're going to be working back into this stitch, that first double crochet, in just a bit. So that's my first granny stitch. So this first row is going to be 2 granny stitches, but we are going to chain after the first, double crochet 3 stitches, 3 double crochets to make a granny stitch. And so here, because we increased in the middle, it makes a triangle, and we are going to make our increases each row only in this place, only in this chain stitch between the 2 granny stitches in the middle. And that's where your growth will come from, not on the ends, because that will make it curl around, but simply in the center, and it'll give you a straight, clean edge across, for the most part, depending on your tension. So at the end of this row, we will chain 1 and turn, and then work into that first stitch you see here, 3 double crochets to make that granny stitch. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 1, go to the next chain space. We're working into chain spaces until we get to the end of the row. So here we're going to make 1 granny stitch. Remember, that's 3 double crochets together, 1 granny stitch, chain 1, and then another granny stitch. Okay, chain 1, and then work into 1, 2, 3, the last the last stitch of the row. But that's where we're going to put 3 granny stitches. Excuse me, 3 double crochets for a granny stitch. Okay. Tighten that up a bit and see how clean it is across. So chain 1 and into that first stitch, 3 double crochets, which is 1 granny stitch. And now we granny stitch into this chain space. These are some smooth hooks. Okay. Then we granny stitch into the center chain space, which we will also do our increase. So granny stitch, chain 1, granny stitch again into the same chain space to make our increase. chain 1, granny stitch into the next chain space, again chain 1. That's so pretty. And then granny stitch into that last chain, and that will be what you will continue, the pattern you will continue for about, with this DK weight yarn, 10 or 12 rows, depending on your liking, until we get to the path. So first the pebbles and then the path. So I will see you, I'm gonna do a total of 12 rows in this section, but I will see you there. Okay, we are now ready to start path, and what we will do is we will actually work into the front stitch instead of the front loop. So that is this stitch and not the back loop. So we will work into the front loop so that when we turn our work, we will be able to easily make the front double crochet front post stitches to create the division in the path. So let's go ahead and start working in that front loop. And we've chained 1. We're going to yarn over, insert your hook here in the front loop, double crochet into each stitch and under the chain stitch. There will not be any increases until we meet in the middle of that center chain stitch in the center where we have been increasing. So we will be working under the front loop of each stitch and under the chain stitch until the end of the row. And again with increases at the center chain stitch. So I will skip ahead where we get to the center and show you how we increase. Okay, we've reached the center chain stitch. You're going to double crochet on one side, chain, double crochet again to start on the other side, and then we're just going to continue again under the front to double crochet into the front loop and under each chain stitch until we reach the end as we did before. Chain stitch, turn our work. So that's how we're going to end this row. Okay, so we are at the end of the row where we'll make our last double crochet. Now, the last double crochet for me after working into stitches, I like to insert in directly into the stitch and not the front loop because it can make it a little loose. So at the end of the stitch, I go into the full stitch, which it would be the V, with the last double crochet, and then I will chain 1, turn the work, and as you can see here, we've already created the line to start our path. So now we will work a double crochet in the front post of every 6th stitch. We chain 1, turn our work, and work into each stitch and then front post double crochet into the 6th stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th stitch, work the front post, it creates the raise, then that means you skip this one and work into the next one with a double crochet. That's 1. I need a little slack. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6. As you can see, the pattern start to raise here to give you your start in the path. So we're going to skip this one and double crochet into the next 5. 1, 2, and we will continue into the center. Well, in the center we do as we always have, that center chain stitch in the middle. You're just going to use 1 double crochet on this side, chain stitch, double crochet on the other side, and continue to work into the stitch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and front post double crochet into this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until the end. So I will work to the end to give you an idea and then show you how we would work the next row from the back after we turn our work. Okay, so we have reached the end of the row. It's time to chain 1. Now what's different about the second row for starting the path is that we will now work in the back. So the first 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches, we will work into double crochets into each stitch, but when we come to where that front post is, we're going to actually work the back post, which will mirror the front post. So again, no increases on the end. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then yarn over to make a back post. This is how you will do it. You will work under and over that post, pull your yarn through, complete the double crochet, and when you turn it over, see, now it's longer. So that is how we're going to work this back row. It does leave a space here where you've worked over the stitch, but it's a perfect reflection of that front post when you've worked the back post on this side. So we're going to continue to work into, so you skip this because you just worked over it, and you work the next 5 stitches, back post, next 5, and so on and so on. So that's what we're going to do until we get to the center. So 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, work the back post, and let's keep going. When we get to the center where the increase is in that stitch, we're just going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to work a double crochet, chain stitch, double crochet, and then back into working the stitches until we get to the post, and then work a back post until you get to the end of the row, which will be your last single double crochet on that row. You'll turn your work, and as you did for the previous row, you're just going to work the 5, or it could be an increase by now, but you'll work into the stitches until you get to the post, and then work a front post, and so on. You will do the path section. You will have a total of 1, 2, 4 posts before you begin to start with the granny stitches. So I will continue to work this back post until the end of the row, which means I will work 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, so 2 more rows, and then meet you on this right side, because this would be the wrong side, this would be the right side. Well, I'll meet you on the right side and show you how we will begin again the granny stitch row. I've finished that 4th row. It's now time to chain 1, turn our work, and we will granny stitch in the first stitch of the row, and then into the 3rd stitch. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. In the back loop, we will place the next granny stitch, chain 1, 1, 2, 3, which is hitting right above the front post for our next granny stitch. 2, 3, chain 1, 2, 3. So every 3 stitches we will chain 1 and then place a granny stitch. As we did previously. 1, 2, 3, granny stitch. All right. And really, y'all, that's it. When we get to the end of the row, we're going to chain up 1. We're going to turn our work. We're going to, as we did here, we're going to, after turning our work, we're going to have 1 granny stitch in the first stitch here of the row, and then chain 1, and then granny stitch into the chain spaces until you have the number of rows really you want. It could be 10, it could be 12, it could be whatever, and then you start all over again with your flat work, or your path, as I was calling it before, and that's it. Now, I don't think I have to show you the very end of how to complete the pattern, because you've been doing all the rows just about the same way. So here I run out of yarn, so instead of 10 granny square stitches rows, I only did 5, and then this is the right side, and then all I did after that was just work a double crochet row into each stitch in the back loop, because it really makes a nice kind kind of that 3D sort of look, that more textured look when you work in the back stitch. That's all. And we're working from this direction, so working in those back stitches, it's really lovely. And sometimes you may even work in the front stitch. Just depends on how you want the pattern to work. But I finished up with the last of the yarn that I had and just double crochets into each stitch. I even double crocheted into the back of the chain space, and my very last row, and I was down to like just a teeny bit of yarn, I half double crocheted in the back stitch. That's all, you guys. However you end it, it's your journey on your path. It's up to you. So I hope that you enjoyed this pattern. I am going to continue to work on this project throughout the fall. Of course, I plan to wet block it for that same look, but that's really it. So if you want to go back and rewind to refresh your mind, if you lose your place on where you're working, I suggest that. Even timestamping leaving a timestamp in the comments. I do that sometimes too, to pick up where you left off. But you guys, this is really it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I really enjoyed this new hook from Yarn as a Second Language. I love, I've worked, if you can tell the lighting has changed, but I've worked for so many hours on this tutorial and my hand still doesn't hurt. I haven't taken much of a break except to nibble on some chips. It's all but it helped my kids out when they've called me. But you guys, that's it. This has been a great hook to work with for the longevity. I do have some hand pain, so I need my hands to be open when I work stitches, and I highly recommend Yarn as a Second Language. This is their sonnet hook, and they have many more to release. I highly recommend you check out their website and this project for a deep stash project. If you have some yarn any size that's just kind of lingering without a project and you like texture, I say give it a go and let me know how you like it, and also what yarn you decide to use for this project if you decided to make this project, in the comments below. But thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and until then, happy crafting.